Hey guys, welcome back. Another episode in the studio, and we got Bryan Burnett here. And Bryan, I've known you, I don't know how long. I've known of you for at least 8 years.
Okay.
And I think I first talked to you maybe like 6 years ago. I think I actually came into your office a long time ago, and you just kind of like picked your brain about real estate. Cause
I remember. You were doing commercial.
at the time,
Yeah.
it was a while ago. And I just wanted to pick your brain about what you were doing because you're just doing so much volume. And you've been in the business how long as a real estate agent?
Like I started in 2002,
Dang.
part-time. That was right after I served a mission, got in the real estate business part-time. Full-time, 2005, 2006.
Why part-time at first? Just because you were going to college?
Yeah.
What were you going to college for?
I was going to BYU.
Okay.
And I was going into business.
Did you ever finish?
No.
Just because?
I was doing real estate at the same time.
Yeah.
So I'd go to school. I would get out of school. I'd go knock doors and just like try and get listings. And I was selling them part-time.
Yeah.
But I knew somehow in the end I wanted to do something in real estate. At the time I was doing so good, I just wanted to do it. So dropped out one day.
Dude, that's crazy that you were like, no, I don't think I've ever like had a stint where I've like really knocked doors, but like it's just your life, right?
Yeah, it was. It was before like, door knocking's big nowadays. It was before then.
Really?
Yeah.
It wasn't big back then. Because I felt like all the old school like agents were always all about door knocking.
Well, maybe real estate it was, but like the whole door-to-door thing, like it's big nowadays, like
Yeah.
the sales. It wasn't really like that back then.
Yeah.
But that's all I knew. Like I just go knock doors, ask people, do you want to sell? And eventually they'd say, one would say,
Somebody
yes.
would say, yeah.
I'd make a deal and I'd be able to pay for my, the college for the next 3 months or whatever.
That's way cool.
Yeah.
Guys, to preempt this conversation, I mean, Bryan is one of the top, and you know the numbers, I know you do, but I know you're one of, if not the top real estate agent in Southern Utah, and you're one of the top in Utah.
As far as production, yeah, like for Century 21, I think I'm the top 2 in the nation.
Dang.
I don't know the numbers, but it's been up there.
We can say top 10 with ease.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a guy that does hundreds of deals a year. He's got a team. He knows what he's doing, but he's also he's unique in the sense that Bryan is relationship, but also a prospecting agent at the same time, and you don't get both that often. I see a lot of people that are very prospect minded, and they don't get a lot of callback. They don't get a lot of people that come back to them to list and buy homes, but you do both.
Yeah.
And I think that's super unique, and it's one of the reasons I wanted to have you on the podcast.
Oh, thank you.
To dive into that.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, how many homes did you sell at your peak in like COVID?
During COVID, I mean, last year was my biggest year. I think I did 250 homes.
250 homes in a 12-month period.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
My personal, like probably 175 were by myself and the rest were for my team.
Yeah, but it's still with your name on it.
Yeah.
You're making something from it.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah, so this is a guy who's a heavy hitter in real estate. He's one of the top guys in all of Utah. He's one of the top guys in the nation, as you heard, in C21. And just interested to learn from you. So if you're interested in real estate or just business in general, I think you can learn a lot from Bryan. So let's just dive in. If you're cool with that, let's go back to like when you serve an LDS mission, you're up in Salt Lake, you get your license. It's like 2005, you said you went full-time. Like what made you make the switch to full-time real estate?
I just knew that I wanted to do that, and I could see the potential of like how much someone can make if they really wanted to. See, real estate is kind of funny. Most people don't choose it as like a primary career.
Yeah.
Almost everyone in the business is like, oh, what else am I going to do? It's a last resort. But like I saw it as like a primary business.
Mm-hmm.
And I when I was on my mission, like before my mission, I was super shy. I had a hard time talking to anybody. And then when I got out there and we're knocking doors every day, I learned like I was good at it.
Yeah.
And I actually enjoyed it. And so when I came back, it's like, I know I'm going to get into sales.
Really?
Yeah. So then I was like interviewing all these companies. Like I remember I went to like a furniture store, like an RC Wheelie type store, these different stores. Like, hey, I want to sell. Like, you don't have any experience. Come back.
Huh.
And I was talking to my dad and he's like, hey, why don't you try real estate? I was like, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, big commissions.
Yeah.
Well, okay, let's do it. So I signed up and just jumped into it.
How long did it take you to do your first deal?
Oh, it's a couple weeks.
Really?
Yeah.
Within a few weeks, you had your first deal under contract, because that's also pretty rare.
Yeah.
A lot of people will take 6 months to get a deal under contract.
Yeah, so I started in St. George, and I think I did like 3 deals in a couple months.
Wow.
and I made enough money to go to college. So then I went up to Provo.
Dang.
And started up there.
That's crazy. And then you just started fresh up there.
Yep, started up there.
So you went full-time in 2005. Are you married at this point?
No, I got married in 2006.
Okay, so 2006, you get married. And I just remember your dad, Bruce is talking to me about this. Like, you had some years, probably, I'm guessing 2007, 2008, that were really tough for you. And maybe it was your father-in-law, because I know your father-in-law too, and he mentioned some stuff, right? But you just said that, like, it was really hard. Does that ring a bell? Like, do you remember a hard time in real estate, or are they just blowing smoke?
Dude, I can't remember a year that wasn't hard. Honestly.
Like last year, your best year ever was probably really hard.
There was always challenges in every market. At that time, 06, 07, the market was booming hot, kind of like it was a couple of years ago. Then after that, it completely melted down. Probably before you were in the business.
I wasn't in the business, yeah. I just hear stories of it.
Yeah, it was a major meltdown. So if you could imagine half the people losing their homes, foreclosure, so half the transactions and the prices of homes drop in half. So that was just a wild, crazy time.
Yeah.
A lot of panic, a lot of negativity.
Yeah.
And just was in the thick of it.
Just drying up. And this is right around the time where you're like, yeah, I'm going full time.
Yeah.
You just got married.
Yep.
And you're like, oh, crap.
I bought a duplex, and I sold that, bought a pretty nice home, and then that's like the next month is when it just collapsed.
Really? So you had a decent mortgage on it, and then you're like, your income just kind of started to dry up a little bit.
Yeah, well, the funny thing is my income never went down.
Really?
Yeah. But it was a grind.
Yeah. So what did you do in those times to get through like the hard times? I think that's a good question. Let's say we have it happen again. Like what was your mentality at that time?
The formula is always the same. Whether the market's going up super fast or it's going down, it's crashing, the formula's all the same. You just gotta grind. You gotta like talk to as many people as you possibly can. So back then, I was just pounding the phones, pounding the doors, and you had to find people that were very motivated to make a move and that they had some equity.
Yeah.
And if they didn't, you did some short sells, but that was a lot of
work, right?
Yeah, a lot of work. So just talking to a ton of people, finding the motivation, finding the equity, and then just work like crazy.
So you just work more hours essentially during that time?
Just list properties, do your best to market them, tell your people every week, hey, your prices are to drop some more. You got to drop your price. You got to drop your price.
That's stressful.
Yeah.
That's freaking hard. They don't love hearing that. Yeah.
They hate it.
They hate it, and it's like it's one of the hardest things that we have to work through as agents. I mean, we've tasted just this much in the last 2 years, and I don't even like what I have to do, right? Like, I don't like the conversations every week that I have to have, like, here's why your house isn't selling, here's where the market is, here's what we probably need to do to... And it usually is, like, you get to a point where it's like, what else are you going to do to market their home other than just, like, drop the price?
Well, yeah.
You feel the same?
Yeah, if you've done your job, and I always feel so confident because I know I've done our job as far as marketing. We've done all the best we can.
Yeah.
Photography, the websites, we follow up with everybody so quickly. We communicate to our clients so much. They know we're doing everything we can. And if it hasn't sold, it's usually the price.
It's just the price.
At that point. Yeah. And you have to show them reason why it is the price, what else is out there. And compared to 07, it's been easy the last couple of years because it's the same thing, but a lot less.
Yeah.
So it's just, doing a great job telling people the truth. And if they really want to make a move, they can make a move.
Yeah. And try not to get too emotional about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. When did you feel like you had your biggest breakthrough year?
That's a great year. My first year full time, can't remember how many deals I did, but I think I made like $150,000 that year. And that was life changing because I remember at the very beginning, I thought like if I could ever make $100,000 a year, I'd be like, I'd be like I'd have made it.
Yeah.
So that first year full time, I did that, and I remember gave me confidence to keep going. And then 10 years later, I moved to St. George and started completely over. And then within a few years, I was at $1 million within like 3 years.
There's a story there. I mean, it's hard to leave a market, right?
Yeah.
Especially when you get it going. Why did you leave to come to St. George?
Dude, I remember like it was in 2012, right?
Okay.
So we'd gone from 07 to 012. That was that's how long it had crashed for.
Yeah.
And I knew we were at the bottom, and I always just felt inclined to come back here. I went to high school here partly, like one half of a year.
Yeah, where'd you go? Just curious.
Pineview.
Okay, cool.
Just like half of my senior year.
Yeah.
And I loved it here.
Okay.
And I was like, man, if I'm ever going to go back, I've got to do it now, because if I keep building my business, it's going to be hard to leave it.
Yeah, yeah.
So literally made that decision in like 2 days.
Dang.
Just packed up and went.
And your wife was like,
she did not want to leave because all of her family and friends were up there.
Yeah.
Then funny thing is her parents moved down like a year later, and she loved it here.
Yeah. And that was you feel like the biggest breakthrough?
That was a big breakthrough because, you just start all over and you kind of see, okay, if I was to do something different, how would I do it?
Yeah.
So I was able to build it the way that I wanted to build it.
Yeah, just kind of start fresh. Mm-hmm. And then what was so as far as like, hitting milestones, like what have you learned about the difference between selling, let's say if you're an agent that's selling 20, 25 homes versus 50 homes versus 75, 100, 150, like now you're at 250.
Yeah.
What are those, where would you say that the breaks are? And then what are the hurdles to get over that breaks? Like what do you need set up business-wise, structure-wise in order to get to another level? And where are the levels at in your opinion? Does that make sense?
Yeah. A lot of agents I see get up to like an income of like 200, 250, and they kind of,
they're good.
They stall there because that's about 40, 50 deals, whatever it is, 40 deals nowadays. And that's enough where you can make a pretty good living. You can, have a house, go on a decent vacation. You can't really do much more than that. You can't invest. You can't do other things. But that's where society has conditioned you to kind of be good there. So I see a lot of agents get stuck there. Plus, you start to have to hiring people at that point, assistants, administrative people, buyer's agents. You have to kind of learn to delegate, and some agents don't want to do that. So they struggle at that point.
So right around 50 deals.
I think so.
But then after 50, you feel like there's breaks 75, 100, 150, or is it all the same?
It's all the same.
Really?
Yeah. Well, you have to be able. Yeah, like 100 deals was just trying to remember. Every 50 deals probably is another breakthrough. So 100, 150, 200, 250. Our goal in the next couple of years is 1,000. So we're still kind of pushing the envelope every year. But it's essentially learning to think bigger. So I think that most agents struggle with success than they do all the chaos. When you have, that many deals going on, sometimes agents maybe struggle with wanting to deal with all that stress and all. Like if you take just one person, how emotional one house sell is, times that by we have I don't know 50 listings right now,
right?
And all those people going through all those emotions, like it's a lot to deal with. So agents don't want to deal with that pressure or whatever. But I also think they have a hard time with success.
What do you mean by that?
Just people have a hard time accepting success, like allowing themselves to be more successful, to make more money. There's just so much in cultural guilt or whatever it is, like making more than your parents ever made, or maybe getting a whole new friend group, whatever it is. Like I think we struggle with both areas, the pressure of it and then the success of it all.
Interesting.
So a lot of it is it's skill set and it's also mindset.
The story that they're telling themselves about what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. If I can, so I'm like at that 40-50 deal a year type agent where I felt that in, just being at that plateau. The reason why I feel somewhat stuck on my side, I'm curious to know what you'd say to me, is I feel like it's relationship based. So I'm not out grinding the phones, grinding for new business. It's all like, how do I build more relationships? And it's a slower game, right? Mm-hmm. But I'm also comfortable with it. Like you're saying, like it's very comfortable. And the issue that I've always had with hiring an assistant is like it's hard to scale that quickly. Like unless you're on the phones, unless you're pounding the pavement, I can't just go and find a way to be able to go and bring in more business like that. Unless I blew up on social media or something and there was some crazy thing that happened that way.
Yeah.
And that's where I feel like, just hiring an assistant doesn't necessarily mean that it frees up more time for me to go get more business because of the way that I do business. And I think a lot of agents are in that boat. I think most agents in Southern Utah that I talk to are like relationship based, follow up with their SOI, like make sure they get in touch with your past clients, and then you'll do X amount of deals per year. It just works out that way. But you're always getting new business and following up with your past.
Yeah. If you do it that way, you'll always kind of maintain your deal count.
Yeah.
You have to add new. So one thing I always did is I kept making the same amount of outbound calls during the whole process.
Which is how many a day or a week, or how do you keep track?
When I moved to St. George, it was 50. I talked to 50 people a day.
Okay.
So it was like 4 hours of calling a day, 4 to 5. And now today I'm probably like 30, 35, but it's still a lot.
Yeah. When you add it all up, and you've gotten better at your pitch, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And then you're just doing a really good job of following up with people that you've talked to if they're even interested.
It's all systemized, everything.
Yeah.
And hiring assistants can be hard. And at first it was. I've got amazing staff right now. They're really good.
Yeah.
They can manage a lot. But our main thing is customer service. Like that's our main point of focus. And in the real estate business, a lot of it is just communication.
Yeah.
Talking to your clients, letting them know what's going on. People get mad in our industry because we never call our people. We never communicate. So ours is like, I have it all systemized at this point. Dude, make this call, say this, send this text, send this email, call this, do this. Like it's all system based.
Where did you get that?
Just developed it over
just you. Yeah.
Yeah, I just developed it.
That's cool. If I can go here for a second, you've been a part of the Mike Ferry program for a long time. Mm-hmm. You know Mike really well. You had him come and speak here in St. George. I went.
Yeah.
The honest truth that I feel the vibe is, and you probably won't agree with this, and that's okay, but a lot of people don't like him. A lot of people don't like the guy because they feel like he's too intense.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you see that, but you probably see it at least a little bit and just have your own opinion of it, of how you can deal with that. But
yep.
I think that he's intense, and it's always been a little bit of a turnoff to me. The way that he talks about how, my kids didn't never see me from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and they knew not to call me or come by the office. I mean, he's just really intense. And I look at that and I go like, dude, my life is about my kids. Like I want them to be able to know they can talk to dad. But he's very business minded, right? But here's the other thing I'll give him. His system works for sure. Like if an agent will buckle down and do a system, it works. It's just really difficult. So talk to me if you can about the Mike Ferry program, what your opinion is of it, and how you worked it over the years to find success.
Yeah. If you think he's intense, you should have seen him like 15 years ago.
Really?
He's a wild man. But I don't follow his, like, I don't use his marriage advice. I think he's been married like 4 or 5 times, I don't come to him for marriage advice or family advice, but if like for pure profitability production, his system works the best that I've seen.
Yeah.
So you take what he has and you apply it to you. I also have another coach, Steve Powers, has been fantastic for me the last 12 years.
Unrelated to
Mike Ferry.
And how'd you find Steve?
Through Mike Ferry, kind of.
Okay.
That whole channel. Yep. So he does a really good job for me. I have a financial coach. I have a health coach. Like I just have good people, and I take what's good in their life, what they're doing really great at, and try and plug that into
yours.
Yeah, but I'm not trying to be Mike Ferry.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want that.
No, I wouldn't either. He's an interesting guy. But like you said, I think his program works, and agents that follow it do really well. But take us through your schedule too, because I don't know if it's changed over the years, but you're up pretty early. You prospect a lot, and then later in the day you're out, trying to fill out contracts and sign people up for listings or whatever. What's your day typically like?
Today, I'm trying to get more sleep nowadays. So, go to bed at 10, wake up at 5:30, so 7:30. Go to the gym, and then I'm at the office with my team at 8 to 8:30. Now nowadays, I'm working more with my team than I had in the past. So 8:30, I run them all through like a practice. Now I'll just grill them on scripts and like objections, just kind of run it through them, get them ready. And then I make my calls for 2.5 hours at that point. And then I'm meeting with my team again, and we meet up. Hey, what'd you guys do? How'd your morning go? What's your problems? What's your challenges? Here's some motivation. Let's go. Hit lunch, and then at 12:30, I do a specific skills training on listings with my team. So the thing I'm doing now is I'm going to 1,000 transactions. Is I am just taking all these things, these systems I told you about, and I just teach my agents, hey, do this. And I've divided out into like 20 different systems. Every day we're going over one. So I spend a lot more time teaching them, and then in the afternoon I'll usually have an appointment to list a house or whatever.
Do you send them out on a lot of the listing appointments?
Yeah, over the years. So my average price is like 1.1, 1.2 right now. And so I've had to, if it's under that, I usually will give it to one of my agents.
Cool.
So kind of you elevate, every year you elevate your standards, what you want to do, what you want to work on. Cool. It's most valuable.
Yeah. When I've seen a lot of it, maybe this is another question. I have all these questions, dude. I got like 5 in the bank already in my mind that I need to ask you. But if you, let's say, so you get a $6 million listing, because you've had some heavy listings like 4, 3, 5.
Share.
Yeah. I've seen them on the MLS. I think that this is somewhat unique, and me and Luke were talking about it a little bit before because he was asking questions about you and who was coming to the podcast today. And I was like, it's interesting. In my perspective, I think, Luke was asking me, is he just luxury? Or are people in St. George, do they just do luxury and nothing else? And I'm like, St. George is probably a lot different than California. I think you could get away with just luxury. But in St. George, we just don't have the volume really to be able to just do that. And so I think one of the things that I respect a lot about what you do is you kind of touch everything, but you can go to the highest of listings, and you also do a trailer if you wanted to do a trailer, right? And so my question after explaining all of that is, I think I'm just curious, how did you do that? How did you get to the point where somebody that owns a $5 million home will trust you to sell their house, and then also be as personable to where somebody at $300,000 market be like, yeah, Brian's my guy.
Yeah, so you treat everyone like they're the most important person in the world. Doesn't matter how much their house is worth,
But how do you do that?
Just see people for who they, people are who they are,
What if their
lives are important? If I had a choice, I'd definitely choose, one over the other.
Yeah.
Now, growing up in the business, I did everything. And nowadays, I had a great appointment. Someone needed to list for $550. I just didn't have the time, so I sent one of my agents who does a great job of that price range. So now as my business grows, I have to be a little more selective.
Yeah.
But yeah, everybody, it doesn't matter if it's 300 or 6 million, we give them the absolute best service as if they're a $6 million home. They get that same service, the same systems, the same checklists, the same calls, courtesy calls, everything.
And that's why you're always at 6%.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what. It's just you're always at 6.
Yeah.
We give you all this stuff. And you have to pay your people anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. NAR stuff. NAR settlement stuff. How are you changing with your team? How are you adjusting? What are you doing to make sure that the team's on board with all the stuff changing? In Utah, there are some changes, right?
Some changes, yeah, for sure. It'll change a little bit how we do things. I've always mostly listed properties, and so not much will change. It's just changing how much we advertise for BACs.
Yeah.
So buyer's agents will have to now prove their value to the market more than they really didn't have to before.
Yeah.
Real estate listing agents have always had to prove, hey, this is why you should list with me. Here's my competitive edge. And now buyer's agents will have to do that.
Yeah.
I do see a lot more people. They come to the listing agent directly all the time. I see them doing it even more now. Hey, I don't want an agent. Can you just do the deal for me?
Yeah.
So I'm teaching my agents, number one, take listings. This is how you take a lot of listings. And number two, you've got to present your value, and you have to really have a good value, and you have to believe it and be able to present it.
Yeah. We had a meeting today that I put together where we talked about the same thing for buyer's agents. Essentially think of it as a listing presentation, but for buyers. So now you're giving a buyer's presentation. So how are we going to structure that? What's the system and process for that? Because before, you're right, we would just go and show them a few houses and then just be like, hopefully they like us enough to where they'll work with us. And then when they like a house, you'll throw in the buyer broker with the offer at the same time. And we just kind of got lazy in that way, right? Yep. Now we have to get it all up front. And so I think the strategy now is, hey, when you get a call, it's not, hey, when can we go see how? It's like, hey, I'm super pumped to be able to help you. Thanks for giving me a call. When's the soonest that you can meet? And it's either in person or on a Zoom call, and you just go over everything and your unique value that you can offer them as a buyer and get those forms signed, and now let's go.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Here's what I can do for you. I preview all these homes that hit the market before you'll ever see it. I'll walk through them first. That way I can weed out, not waste your time. These last 10 deals, I was able to negotiate the price down X amount. What's your value?
Yeah.
I got these guys that just, here's a deal I did for someone. It's amazing. I'll do the same for you.
Yeah.
Do you want someone who can negotiate?
Right.
So it's just,
and they should hopefully know that even before they meet you, a lot of them. But if you're cold calling all the time, they don't know that. So you have to be able to sell it.
Yeah.
What's your thought on buyer's agent commissions as far as it's your best guess, right? It's a crystal ball, but do you feel like it's going to be a rough ride for buyer's agents in Southern Utah, or do you feel like things will mostly stay the same? That the people that are listing homes will talk to their clients well up front and say, hey, you'll probably need to offer something. And then when it comes, what's your take?
I bet you it'll be a rough go for some trying to get there.
Well, who's the some though?
Some
buyer's agents or
skilled buyer's agents.
Okay. And what's your vision? What do you see happening?
I see probably a reduction in the number of agents out there.
Yeah. Why?
I'll see like probably what's going to happen is fewer agents will continue to do more transactions. I mean, it's been going that way.
Yeah, it just kind of feel like it has been that way.
And that'll help just make that happen.
Yeah.
But overall, like commissions have always been negotiable in Utah. And on our MLS, on our listing agreements, we've always had it separated out anyways.
Yep.
So it won't be a huge...
Yeah, I don't think it doesn't change much. I think the things that we're going to have to work through, right, and we're both on the same page, is now that we'll have a new real estate purchase contract where it's going to be negotiating the contract. So that's going to be a part of the deal, which could make it a little edgy if it's tight. And it's going to depend on the market. If we were doing this during COVID, this would be a wildfire, right? Because, well, it would be hard for buyer's agents, though, because if you're bringing the seller's going, look, I got 20 offers, and these 2 agents who do it part-time said they'll do it for $3,000, and you're wanting the full 3%. Like, I'm going to go with these people because I make more money.
Yeah. We're
in a market where we're not getting 20 offers, so I think it's a better time for it to roll out for the market to just figure this out, for sure. I think that's going for us. But, I think it's just going to take 6 months to be able to figure out what's really going to happen. I think you're right. I think people who know how to sell and sell themselves and add value will be just fine. And those that just kind of do it part-time, which it's probably better that they don't do it because there's so many things changing and it's really not helping anybody and really not even helping themselves because they could get in some big trouble and then get into a lawsuit or something like that.
It's good for the industry.
Yeah, it's good for the industry in general. I agree. Well, cool. I feel like we've covered a ton of topics. Let's talk about what's next, though. I know you talked about 1,000 deals. Let's kind of end maybe here. Related to real estate or not related to real estate, what are you doing? Like, what's the next 5-10 years look like?
5-10 years. So I have 5 kids. My youngest is 6, going in kindergarten this year. So still have a lot of time, at home. So I spend as much time with them. I just got back from Fiji for 3 weeks, just last week. I did a humanitarian trip with my daughter.
That's cool.
Yeah, 16. We went and the kids, there's like 20 kids. And I was one of the 2 parents that went. And they don't have cell phones. They go for like 2.5 weeks. And we were on this island off of Fiji, third world, and we built a school.
Wow.
And it was just really cool to see my daughter, because we see a lot of nice homes here.
Yeah.
And to see where those people, where they were living in, it changed. She's not even the same person anymore.
Really?
I'm probably not the same person.
Mm-hmm.
I see people arguing over the dumbest things on these big homes,
Yeah.
And these people are living in just like these shacks. And I would say their kids are happier than our kids. It's great, So doing stuff like that, like traveling, seeing the world, humanitarian stuff, that was a big deal.
You want more of that in the next 5 to 10?
Yeah, more of that. My wife, we have a farm over here. She has a flower farm, so she's developing that into like a flower farm. We're trying to do some other developments on it that are pretty cool. I have apartment buildings that we're developing. That's what I love doing.
Yeah.
And then just building up agents now. My customer focus is now focusing more on agents than just people buying and selling.
That's cool. Just building your team. How big do you want to build it?
We feel like locally here in St. George, we'd like to have like 30 to 40 agents.
And what are you at right now?
Right now we have 8.
Cool. And that's where you want to get to in the next?
Within the next year.
Cool.
Yeah, I brought on a guy, Alex Cornwell. He's an amazing guy, and that's his job. Is hey, let's create an environment. You recruit. Let's develop my systems that I've been learning and doing, and let's put it in a program. And let's teach people really how to be successful listing and buying homes.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, that's way cool. And then, how much longer in real estate before you retire? Do you think?
I don't have like an end date.
You're just going.
Just going. It may change over the time as I get older. As do I want to be in the grind every day? Probably not.
Yeah.
But I do really like most aspects of what I do.
Yeah, good. So you're happy in general, the ups and the downs. You're happy with what you're doing and you want to keep going.
It's hard. It's not easy. Like the reason I've been so successful is I've been always willing to just go and eat crap all day long. Like get on the phone and just take it all day. And a lot of people can't do that for some reason. But to me, I just like what I wanted it so bad I just didn't care. And then Just got
stuck though.
Just got immune to it.
Yeah. Do you ever feel like it affects you ever? Do you ever feel like you have to unload or, just take a step back?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's been a learning process how to deal with all that. And so through the years, you just learn how to, like, you develop your meditation practices, you develop your reading, your quiet time, your or spirituality, all that stuff.
And all that stuff helps.
Committing to your family. Like, yeah, it's just a whole life learning experience. There's people that do way more than I do, and they deal with a lot more crap than I do. So it's just continuing to learn.
Yeah. That's super cool, man. Crazy at what you've been able to do, especially in a small town like St. George compared to bigger places, and what you've been able to accomplish is really, really cool. So I admire that about you. I think that's really, really cool that you've been able to stick that out and be able to take it, because that's hard. That is hard. I did door-to-door. I was a missionary. I did door-to-door sales after that. And I was like, dude, that is tough. Like, and I was good at it. I was the number one guy in my office, but I was just like, I don't know if I want to do this forever, and for you to be able to just take it day in and day out for year after year after year is impressive, and not let it get to you. Like, that's insane.
Yeah. I see a lot of people like take other people. It's mostly like letting other people's opinions affect you.
Mm-hmm.
I have new agents come in and they just have a hard time in college because they don't like the rejection or just the confrontation, whatever.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, they don't really know you. They're not rejecting you as a human being. It's just what you're trying to sell them.
Yeah.
Don't take it personally.
Yeah.
And then when you get those wins, man, they're so good. It's worth everything. And you see what you can provide for your family. Like, I'm big on like vision boards and dreams. Like, and dude, everything has come. Anything that I've put on there has come or will come
to pass.
So you got to tie those calls, those prospectings, you tie that to the goals, and then you're like, okay, this is
why I'm doing it.
This is the path. Yeah.
That's cool. Well, dude, thanks for being on. Thanks for sharing your wisdom and your process and just your crazy life with us for a little bit. You're probably like, it's not that crazy. This is just life. No, I think it's cool. Super unique in how you do business, and I think it's cool. So, guys, thanks for listening. Thanks for listening to this podcast. If you got value out of it, share it with people that might enjoy this. If there's somebody in real estate that's looking to do more deals, have them follow Bryan. Your Instagram handle is probably the best place for people to find you.
I think it's Burnett Group Realty.
Yeah. At Burnett Group Realty, you think?
I think.
I'm pretty sure he's right.
I don't go on there.
So
I'm on there, though.
Yeah. There's some videos on there, so go follow him. Great guy, and he's doing huge things in Southern Utah. So anyway, guys, thanks for listening this far, and we'll see you in the next one.